The Ryco X104R engine protection kit for the July 2015 onwards Toyota Landcruiser Prado GDJ 150 series comes complete with the Ryco Z980K series fuel water separator and RCC 351 series catch can, as well as specifically moulded hoses, brackets, fuel lines and hose clamps, all engineered for a neat install that looks like it could have come this way from the factory. As always, we recommend that the kit is installed by a qualified mechanic with the procedures shown in this instructional video. We'll start by fitting the mounting bracket for the fuel water separator located on the passenger side of the engine bay behind the fuse box. Remove the two nuts securing the factory filter to the vehicle. Lift the factory fuel filter and fit the Ryco mounting bracket in the same position as the factory fuel filter as shown. Replace the factory filter housing on top of the Ryco fuel filter bracket and loosely refit the nuts you just removed. Use the supplied bolt, nut and washers to secure the bottom section of the Ryco mounting bracket through the hole in the vehicle's front passenger side wheel arch. Make sure you install the factory bolt at the bottom of the Ryco bracket so that it points up into the engine bay, and then tighten all the fasteners. The bracket should have no movement and feel secure. Next, we'll prepare the Z980K fuel water separator for fitment. First up, select the supplied quick connectors from the kit that fit the Ryco fuel water separator head and locate the blanking plug supplied with the fuel water separator. Install them to the fuel separator like so, ensuring they're nice and tight. We recommend holding the filter head in a vise while tightening everything up to make things just that little bit easier. Locate the Prado's fuel inlet hose and the factory fuel filter. Loosen the factory fuel hose clamp and disconnect the fuel supply line from the factory filter. Have a rag ready to capture any diesel that may spill out of the fuel line and the fuel filter. Now trace the other end of the fuel supply line and disconnect it from the metal factory fuel supply pipe as shown. Remove the factory fuel supply line from the vehicle. We must now prepare the fuel hose. Install the hose clamps and the supplied elbow connectors onto one end of each of the supplied fuel hoses, but do not secure the fuel hose clamps just yet. Now it's time to install the fuel water assembly onto the Ryco bracket using the two black M10 bolts and washers supplied, making sure both bolts are done up tight. Connect the open end of the shorter supplied fuel hose to the factory fuel supply pipe and secure with a hose clamp as shown. Now, connect the elbow connector to the inlet port of the Z980K fuel water separator by pushing the elbow connector onto the metal quick connector until you hear a click. Connect the longer hose to the outlet port of the fuel water separator by pushing the elbow connector onto the metal quick connector until you hear a click, and connect the open end of the fuel hose to the factory fuel filter inlet port and secure with the fitted hose clamp. It is now time to prime the fuel system. Start by locating the priming button on top of the factory fuel filter. Prime the fuel system by pumping the button repeatedly until you feel it go hard and become difficult to press any further. The priming process could take 5 to 10 minutes. The final step is to start the engine and inspect the hose, filter and fittings for any fuel leaks. We'll now install the catch can. The first step is to remove the plastic engine cover. We now need to identify the mounting points for the catch can bracket in the driver's side corner of the engine bay behind the airbox. Locate the studs shown and then position the supplied catch can bracket into the engine bay and fit the supplied M8 washer and lock nut. There are now two more bolts that need to be installed at the top of the bracket. Use the M6 bolts and washers supplied and tighten down all nuts and bolts. The bracket should have no movement and feel secure. Install the RCC 351 catch can by inserting into the slot of the metal bracket as shown. Rotate the catch can slightly in its plastic bracket so that the ports clear the airbox and point towards the engine PCV port. If the slot on the plastic bracket supplied with your catch can does not fit the bracket, replace it with the alternate plastic bracket supplied in the X104R kit. Locate the factory PCV hose and loosen the OEM hose clamp located at the engine PCV port. Remove the OEM PCV hose from the engine port and remove the OEM hose clamp from this end of the hose and replace with the supplied Ryco hose clamp. Now fit the supplied hose clamps to both the supplied Ryco moulded PCV hoses, noting that the hoses have different sized ends. Starting with the longer supplied moulded hose from the Ryco kit, install the small end on the engine PCV port, then install the other end of the hose to the lower inlet port of the catch can and secure both hose clamps. Now install the large end of the shorter supplied Ryco moulded hose to the upper outlet port of the catch can. Fit the supplied straight hose joiner supplied in the Ryco kit and secure both hose clamps. It is now time to connect this to the OEM PCV hose. Push the joiner into the hose and secure it with the supplied hose clamp. Make sure all the Ryco supplied PCV hoses aren't squashed and are free of any kinks. Lastly, inspect all the hose clamps are secure. To install the drain hose, remove the drain plug from the bottom of the catch can, take out the rubber seal from the plug and refit. Install the drain hose and secure it with the supplied clamp. Insert the drain hose tap to the other end and use the zip ties to secure the hose. To drain, pull back the red section until all oil has drained out.